Hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well let's learn English together. And hello again. Welcome to the show. Yes, it's Tuesday. It's the afternoon. It's Tuesday afternoon. And we're back from where we were. Ready and waiting here in the studio. And what are we waiting for? Well, that's not the right question. It's not what we're waiting for, but who we're waiting for. We're waiting for you. And now you're here, we can get started. So, animals, you know the drill, don't you? Gusti, no dancing. No dancing like a drunken gibbon. Margot, no blocking the TV. And Nigel, wonderful hairy Nigel. Nige, no noise for the next quarter of an hour, okay? Okay. So the animals have received their orders. The crew are all ready. So let's make a start. Now, yesterday, we didn't have enough time to finish what we started, did we? No, that's right. We ran out of time and we didn't finish. But that's okay, isn't it? Yes. As we all know, there's no point in crying over spilt milk, is there? All that happens now is that we continue where we left off with number 6. Now, we all remember what the point of the exercise was, don't we? Yes, the point of the exercise was to practice using enough with adjectives and nouns. And there's a rule which we always follow, isn't there? Yes, that's right. Batman told us the rule, didn't he? Well, at first, Batman didn't speak clearly. He mumbled the answer. He spoke with his mouth half closed and he spoke quietly. So we couldn't hear what he said. But then, after we told him to speak up, then he succeeded in giving us the answer clearly, didn't he? So, let's hear him again.
Enough, followed by a noun, or an adjective, followed by enough.
Thanks, Batman. Yes, Batman told us the golden rule that we remember when we're using enough with an adjective or with a noun. If we're using enough with a noun, then we put enough first and follow it with the noun. But if we're using enough with an adjective, then we put the adjective first and follow it with enough. Alrighty. Well, let's get on with the rest of the exercise. Yesterday, we were about to start number 6. So, let's get cracking on number 6, shall we? Number 6. There are 34 people at the party, but there are only 30 chairs. There, chairs enough not. Number 7. Trevor looks like a skeleton. He eat enough not. Number 8. Lots of people eat too much fried food and eat enough fresh fruit and vegetables not. Number 9. My car's top speed is 180 kilometers an hour. My car enough fast to win a race against a bicycle, but enough quick not to win a race against a Formula 1 car. Number 10. She's 18 years old. She can leave school if she wants to. She's enough old. Okay, so let's have a look at number 6. Number 6. There are 34 people at the party, but there are only 30 chairs. There, chairs enough not. We're talking about people and chairs. So, are we using adjectives or nouns? Well, we're talking about the number of chairs available. We're talking about nouns. So that means that we know that it's going to be enough plus noun. So, enough chairs, because we're talking about more than one chair. We need the plural noun. Okay, but there's something else to think about, isn't there? Yes, the word not. This is a negative idea. There are 34 people and only 30 chairs, so there's a negative idea involved. And what does that mean? Well, It's not hard, but it means that we have to put the word not into the sentence too. So, if the sentence was positive, if the situation was that we have 30 chairs and there are 29 or 30 people, then the sentence would be, there are enough chairs. Fine, but here, the sentence isn't positive, it's negative. So that means we have to add the word not. Okay, so where does it go? Where do we put the word not? Well, the positive is there plus verb, and the negative is there plus verb plus not. Simple. So let's put the whole thing together, shall we? There are 34 people at the party, but there are only 30 chairs. There aren't enough chairs. Fantastic. So we start with there, add the verb, and it's the plural form of the verb to be, are. Then we add the negative element, not. And because we all love the short, abbreviated form, we abbreviate it. Are not becomes aren't. Then all we have to do is add enough and the noun. Chairs. Done. There aren't enough chairs. Next. Number 7. Trevor looks like a skeleton. He eat enough not. Aha! Skinny Trevor. Now there's a word, skinny. It's not a positive word. If we want a positive word about someone who's not fat and who looks great, then we use the word slim. Slim is a very, very positive adjective. This is the sort of word which people love to hear. Skinny, on the other hand, is not a positive idea. Skinny is the idea that you're too thin, you look unhealthy. If someone is anorexic, then the correct adjective to use is skinny. If someone isn't fat at all and they look great, then the correct adjective to use is slim. Anyway, in this sentence, we're talking about Trevor, and it's not a positive sentence at all. Trevor looks like a skeleton. That's not very positive. Okay, so we know what Trevor looks like. He's so skinny, he looks like a skeleton. Like this. Now, it's okay to look like this when you're dead, but it's not a positive look when you're alive. And why does Trev look like a skeleton? Why, that's easy. He only eats 200 kilocalories a day. Now, in this sentence, are we looking at a noun or an adjective? Aha, you noticed, didn't you? This one's different. This one doesn't use a noun or an adjective. In this sentence, we're using enough with a verb. Kawanga, eh? Yes, kawanga indeed. Okay, so what does this mean? Is this going to scare us so that we hide behind the sofa? No! Is this new idea as scary as the creature from the haunted sea? No, of course it isn't. So, what do we have to do? How do we use enough when we want to use it with a verb? Well, when we want to use the word enough with a verb, we follow another pattern. When we use enough with a verb, then we start with the verb and follow with enough. He wants to become stronger, but he doesn't train enough. She'd like to be a famous violinist, but she doesn't practice enough. I think he's planning on being a sumo wrestler. He certainly eats enough. I think Oscar should get the job at the radio. He talks enough. Okay, so now we know. If we're using the word enough in connection with a verb, then we put the verb correctly conjugated and follow with enough. Okay, so back to Trevor, skinny Trev. So what's the correct sentence? Trevor looks like a skeleton. He eat enough not. Well, we're talking about Trevor, and that means that we're talking about the third person singular. Okay, and in this sentence, we're talking about something which is true in general. So, which tense are we using? That's right, we're using the present simple tense. And it's a negative sentence, isn't it? Yes, look, there it is, lurking at the end, the word not. Okay, so what does this mean? What does this tell us? Well, what do we have to do when we'd like to make a negative sentence or a question in the present simple? Does anyone remember? Yes, that's right. We need to use an auxiliary verb, don't we? Yes. To make negative sentences and questions in the present simple tense in English, we need to use the auxiliary verb to do. So, that means that we have to use the form of do for the third person singular, which is what? Yes, I do, you do, but he, she, and it does. So, we have to use the conjugated form of the verb to do. He does. Trevor does. Okay. But it's a sentence using the negative, isn't it? Okay. So what's the negative form? Easy. Trevor does not. We follow the correct form of the auxiliary verb with the word not to make it negative. And because we all prefer the short version, we abbreviate it. Trevor doesn't. Does not becomes doesn't. Great! Now what? Well, now we add the main verb. And what's the main verb in this sentence? That's right, bingo buddies! The main verb is the verb to eat. And do we have to conjugate the main verb? Do we have to change anything with the main verb because the subject is the third person singular? No. Good. And why not? Correct-a-doodle-doo, my mate Bob's a rozza. We don't need to change anything to the main verb. We change the auxiliary verb, and that's all we have to do. The main verb stays in the infinitive form. Okay, so subject, auxiliary verb, not, main verb, and then, well, what have we just learned? Yes, after the verb we add enough. Trevor doesn't eat enough. He doesn't eat enough. Trevor looks like a skeleton. He doesn't eat enough. Brilliant. Excellent. Well done. And on we go. And, this is another sentence using enough with a verb. In fact, this sentence also uses enough with the verb to eat, doesn't it? Yes. And what else can we see? Well, let's have another look, shall we? Number 7. Lots of people eat too much fried food and eat enough fresh fruit and vegetables not. All right, who spotted the other similarity? You all did, didn't you? Yes, that's right. This sentence also features a negative, doesn't it? There, right at the end. The last word before the closing bracket. There it is, the word not. Okay, so this means that this sentence is going to be very easy for us to complete, doesn't it? It's practically the same as number 6. The only difference is that we have to watch out for the fact that the subject is different. In sentence number 6, we were talking about Trevor, which means that we were using the third person singular form. In this sentence, however, we're talking about lots of people, which is the same as they. So we're using a plural subject form. Okay, so what does all this mean? Well, we're making a negative sentence, which means that we need the auxiliary verb to do. Remember that when we want to make negatives and ask questions in the present simple tense, we need the help of an auxiliary verb, the verb to do. Okay, and we also remember that we have to conjugate the auxiliary verb, not the main verb. Good. That means that the form we have to follow is this. Subject plus auxiliary verb plus not plus main verb plus object. Okay, that's simple enough, isn't it? Lots of people blah 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 and don't eat enough fresh fruit and vegetables. So, the subject is lots of people, which means that it's they do. But we have to add the negative, which makes it they don't. They do not, but we all prefer the short, abbreviated version, don't we? Of course we do. So, they don't. Then we add the main verb in the infinitive, remember, they don't eat. Then we follow with enough, because when we use enough with verbs, we put the verb first and follow with enough. So, what's the whole sentence? Lots of people eat too much fried food and don't eat enough fresh fruit and vegetables. Brilliant! And, fish cakes. We're out of time. Oh well. Remember what the French singer says, there's no point in crying over spilt milk. Exactly. So, dry your eyes and get ready to enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Tomorrow, we'll finish the exercise and have a look at something else. Okay? Right then, I'm out of here like Vladimir. See you all tomorrow. Have fun and don't forget, www.m5tv.hu. See you later. Bye!